everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'm going to show you two cards that I created with this Pink and Main stamp set called Rain or Shine. I'm also going to be using the coordinating dies. I am also going to be using this Peekaboo die by Lawn Fawn for one of my cards, and I'm also going to use some stitched ovals by Lawn Fawn for my second card. So as usual, I'm going to start by showing you the coloring of each image from the stamp set. I stamped everything on 110-pound white Neenah cardstock with Memento ink. Both the paper and the ink are alcohol friendly, so I'm going to color these images in with my Copic markers, and the caps are listed on screen. I always start with my darkest marker, map out my shadow areas, so I tend 99% of the time to do a center highlight, so I am adding my darker color to the edges of my image and then also where two objects meet. So underneath the hat, I will add a shadow, and then where the neck attaches to the body, I'm going to add some shadow under the head. And then I'll take my mid-tone and go over that dark area and pull the color a little bit more towards the center, but I will leave a little bit of white space still there to go over with my lightest marker. And I also use my lightest marker to blend everything together. I decided to color in all of my mice in my warm gray markers, so for this other mouse here, I'm actually going to color it in white by using my W2 and W0 markers. White would naturally cast a bit of a shadow, so it will add dimension to your image if you do decide to use a little bit of gray. Now it's very easy to go heavy-handed when you're coloring white, so I always start with a light marker. Some people will add like W5 or W7, but I just feel like it looks too gray, so I just stuck with the W2 and the W0. Here I just added the W2 around the edges of my mouse, and then I'm just pulling that W2 in towards the center with my W0, and then I left quite a bit of white still showing so that it did look like a white mouse. For the flowers in its hand, I'm going to color those in pink, and for all of my mice I gave them some peachy ears and noses. For my next mouse that is under the rainbow, I'm going to color it in the same way I did with the mouse that was in the raincoat. I'm going to use W4, W2, and W1. I'm going to start by coloring the rays on the rainbows. So this rainbow only had 3, so I think I went with yellow, green, and blue. And I didn't really like how it ended up looking. I will still use this image, but for the image on the right, I'm going to change the colors. You can see that I stamped each image out twice. I will be making 2 cards, but I'm going to have some leftovers, which I'm fine with because I like to use my extra die cuts in my photographs, but I wasn't sure how my cards were going to look. I just knew what products I wanted to use, so I just like to stamp more than I think I'll need. And whenever I do all my stamping and coloring ahead of time and I do extras, I tend to try to use up as many as I can, so I will actually sometimes end up putting more on a card than I thought I initially would. So yeah, this is just how I prefer to do it. Sometimes I lose steam and lose interest if I have to stop after every card to do more stamping and coloring. And I do work a little bit quicker when I do it this way. So this is what I do for all my 10 card 1 kit videos. And I also enjoy coloring beforehand because as I color, I start to come up with card designs. Alright, so for this cloud, I decided to use B00 and B000. I really have enjoyed coloring my clouds in blue rather than gray lately. For this little mouse here, this one I'm going to actually do a shade darker. So I'm going to pull in W6 as my darkest color, and then I'll do W4 and W2. For his little umbrella, I wanted it to be red. I think it would have been cute if I added polka dots to the umbrella. I think these mice are super cute. In a previous Pink and Main card kit, they had a Christmas stamp set with these mice, and I thought that they were so cute that I went and bought their spring mice. And so I've had this particular stamp set in my stash for a while. You can buy it at the Not Too Shabby shop. I will have it linked down below. And if you use N2S10 at checkout, you can get 10% off your order. So I'm just going to finish up this last mouse here, and I love how the coloring turned out. I like that I went with warm grays for all the mice, so they all look very nice together, but they're all just a little bit different because they're different shades of gray. So for card 1, you can see I cut that peekaboo die from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to inlay the rectangle and squares back inside the die. I just used some Scotch tape on the back to hold them together, and that is because I wanted there to be a continuous ink blend on the frame and on those rectangles and squares. So on the bottom half, I added a cloud stencil, which is by Simon Says Stamp, and on the top, I'm going to add Stormy Sky and Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to remove the two bottom panels just because I didn't want to get any of that dark ink onto those. And I'm trying my best to keep that darker ink towards the top half. And the idea that I was going for is that I wanted there to be a thunderstorm on the top and then like blue skies at the bottom. I did something similar to this in my Hero Arts May 2020 card kit, and I thought it was a really cute idea. So I'm going to do a similar layout with this card. So I'm going to remove that Scotch tape on the back and take those panels out and I guess put them back in and lay out my die cut images. So I did die cut those with their coordinating dies. And I thought it would be cute to have the rainbow mouse and the mice holding the flowers at the bottom, and then the two rainy mice at the top. And then next to the mouse with the umbrella, I'm going to add my sentiment, which is from the stamp set. It says, "Rain or shine, I'm by your side." I white heat embossed that and then cut it into a banner with my scissors. Behind this mouse with the flowers, I'm going to actually add some more tiny flowers behind him or her, just to add interest. And I'm also going to add some raindrops to the mouse with the umbrella. I didn't want that large white area under the rainbow, so I just used my scissors and cut that off. I'm going to attach my banner sentiment behind my mouse here. And then here is where I'm going to add those extra raindrops. I did splatter some water onto the ink blending, and that added a nice rainy effect to the background. And these raindrops and those smaller flowers that I added behind the mouse are included in the stamp set. And I'm actually only going to glue the raindrops and those individual flowers onto the ink blended panels. I'm not going to glue the mice or the sentiment because I want to glue those onto some acetate that I'm going to attach to the back of this frame. So if you know me, you know that I love adding acetate to my cards. On any card with a window, I will add acetate, even if it's not a shaker card. I just think that it makes your card look more expensive, more elegant, and yeah, I do this a lot if you follow my channel. But I actually use overhead transparencies. I don't use acetate. It's basically the same thing, it's just a little bit thinner, and this is the stuff that teachers used to use to project their lessons onto like a board of some kind, and I was taught that way up until 3rd grade, so I don't know if anyone else uses overhead transparencies in schools anymore, but I'm glad that they sell this stuff. I will link it down below. I get mine from Amazon. I think there's like 50 sheets in a pack, and I think I pay like 15 bucks for it. And it will definitely last you a long time. You guys know I add acetate to I'd say 80% of my flat cards, and I still have about 10 sheets left, but I've had it for like 2 years now. So, and I use a lot of it. You guys might only use this stuff for shaker cards, and it is really great for shaker cards as well. So now I'm attaching my mice on top of the acetate with my art glitter glue. And because it's slick, I'm making sure to press those die cuts down a little bit longer than I typically would, just to make sure the glue dries underneath and the die cuts won't slide off. And off camera, I'm going to add 1 layer of Scotch 3M foam tape. You can make this into a shaker card. I think that would be really cute to have darker sequins on the top half and lighter sequins, maybe yellow on the bottom. But I decided to just leave this card without any sequins. And to line up the panels that go behind the frame, I'm using the frame as a guide. I didn't remove any of that foam tape yet, so I can kind of hover the frame over the panel that I want to glue over my card base. And eventually I kind of understood the spacing, so I didn't need the frame as a guide. I really just needed it for my first panel that I glued down. But I am checking to make sure that I am aligning it perfectly. All right, so everything is aligned, so I'm going to remove all of that foam tape and attach it to my card base. For my card bases, I use 110-pound white Neenah cardstock. That's my favorite cardstock for my card bases and for Copic coloring. And then that's going to complete my first card. My second card was really quick. I think I made it in like 10 minutes. And that is because I wanted this pattern paper, which I got from a previous Simon Says stamp kit. I wanted that to be the focus of the card, so I really didn't have to do much with it. I'm just going to take that extra mouse that's sitting by the rainbow. I'm going to again cut out that space underneath the rainbow with my scissors, and you can see that I die cut a stitched oval from some vellum cardstock. And I'm going to glue that rainbow in the center of that oval. And off camera, I white heat embossed the sentiment that says, "You are the gold at the end of my rainbow." I white heat embossed that on black cardstock and cut it into a little rectangle and attached it to the bottom of the pattern paper. And now I'm going to add my vellum oval over the sentiment. I only added glue behind the rainbow since you can see glue underneath the vellum. I wanted to hide it that way. And of course, another signature of mine, I guess, is adding black mats. I love black mats, especially on rainbow cards. And then that's it. That's gonna finish card number 2. Like I said, it took 10 minutes. You can definitely mass produce this one, and you can use all the images from the stamp set since they're super cute. You can do a rainy background for the little mouse in the raincoat and the umbrella, or you can use up your rainbow pattern paper, which is what I wanted to do today. Just to embellish this card, I'm going to use some Trinity Stamp Fairy Rocks, and I'm gluing them in a diagonal. I tend to always do that with any kind of sequins or embellishments I have. I think it's just more appealing to my eye. I'm sure there's some science to that. I want to look that up. And maybe I'll let you guys know in my next video what that's all about. Maybe it's just me, but let me know how you guys arrange your sequins. Is it just completely random, or do you have a certain way of doing it? So yeah, that's going to complete the 2 cards that I created with the Pink and Main Rain or Shine stamp set. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you haven't yet already, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.